So if you have a 5G or you heard the term 5G, what kind of a benefits you can get from that? Like if I ask you, okay, on my mobile, 5G is working, your mobile 3G or 4G is working. So as per your common understanding, what kind of a advantage you will have when you have a 5G on your network, on your mobile? First is speed. That means you will get more bandwidth. Second, anyone? Low latency. Like if you are watching a YouTube video, so there will be no freezing. So you will have a continuous full HD 4K videos if you have a more bandwidth. And there is a one other third advantage of 5G, which is very important.
Recording in progress.
So anyone have idea what is the third main advantage of 5G? When we say we will have a 5G in the whole Pakistan, all the industries will connect to the 5G, all the machines will connect to the 5G, sensors, smart TVs, smart cities, safe cities. So that is massive connectivity. That means the number of user and devices which can be handled by the 5G, that is much higher than the previous versions like 3G, 4G. So F5G generation of fixed network, fiber based. And any one of you if have a clear idea about the architecture of 5G, 5G is just a wireless from base station to your mobile. Behind for the connectivity of the whole network, you have the fiber net. Everywhere you have the fiber. So F5G is generation of fixed network of a fiber network. I think around 2010, when this mobile era was started or the broadband era was started, everyone talking about the bandwidth. Like how much bandwidth is coming to your home. You have a 2 Mbps connectivity, 10 Mbps. So at that time, everyone was caring about bandwidth. So if you want to analyze whether in this hall we have a good connectivity or not, you will always ask how much is the backbone, these line connectivity bandwidth. How much bandwidth you are getting in this hotel or in this room. So that was the area of the bandwidth when basically this digital transformation or broadband transformation was started. Around 2020, you realize a lot of people have a lot of bandwidth from different ISPs or from the PTCL, but at the same time, you care about the experience. If your network have a very good bandwidth, but your video is not working fine, so at the end, as a user experience was not good. So we saw for last many years, like 5, 6 years, we not only care about the bandwidth, but also about the user experience. Like as a vendor, we know that for the many customers who have a very good bandwidth connectivity, but not a good user experience, they have less users. At the other end, if we have a one ISP which provides a very good bandwidth, but at the same time they have a good user experience, they will have a more customers. Even in your homes, you are ready to pay a little extra amount. Like instead of I will say $10, you are easily pay to $12, $15. If not, you are getting a good bandwidth, but a good user experience. That means no freezing. Whenever you will just click the YouTube, video will work. You have a IPTV in your home, will work very smooth. But just for last 2 to 3 years, one third item or feature is added in this. That is the intelligence. Nowadays, you see all the different universities, everywhere we are talking about the intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence. So before we have the two main characteristics. One was the bandwidth, second was experience, but now you have the third item, that is intelligence. So any network gives you a very good bandwidth with user experience, but also it have a built-in intelligence. That means that will be considered as a best network and future-proof network. So in our campus network or in any kind of a network, now intelligence is a very important factor. And if you analyze some developed countries, you will see the governments have a special ministry or special division, special groups only working for AI. Even most of you guys are from the education background, education industry. Even within education industry, you see now we have a master in AI. Even within a university, we have a R&D special center for AI. So that means the third main item is intelligence, very important. And what we can see in this Islamabad, like we have a safe city, smart city, and like the latest different kind of digital services. So artificial intelligence is the one of the major or basic requirements. So now we need to see that what kind of a network we need which can fulfill all these requirements. So this is what we discussed in the beginning. Like we have 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, different versions of wireless technology. But at the same time, we have the different versions of fixed network technology that is based on the fiber. So ETSI have launched F5G, and the basic concept of F5G is we need to ensure the availability of the fiber everywhere in our network. So we need to ensure the last available device even in our network connected through optical fiber. So when you have such kind of a facility in your network, then what you will get, the 3 points which we discussed earlier. First, bandwidth. Higher bandwidth. You will have higher bandwidth everywhere in your net. Second, low latency. And the third one, massive connectivity. So when you have such kind of a network, that will ensure that you can implement the true concept of digitalization. So you heard a lot, all the different kind of organizations, government organizations, or even SMEs, or big like ETCL, OGTCL, different government organizations, MOI, MOD, they all are going to implement the concept of digitalization. This is a concept of implementation of digitalization. But how you will achieve this concept of digitalization? Anyone? Just a simple question. If I want to say in this hotel, I want to implement the concept of digitalization in next 1 year. So what is, in a common, simple language, what does it mean? What I have to do? Anyone? Yes. You need to implement or you need to adopt the latest technologies. And when you will adopt these latest technologies, then you need some basic parameters which we discuss. Higher bandwidth, low latency. If you are going to implement CCTV everywhere, thousands of CCTVs or hundreds of CCTVs, you need to access with low latency. You want to have a live streaming everywhere. You have intelligence is that one. If you want to ensure that, okay, this guy, Shahid Iqbal, where is in a hotel? If you don't have implementation of this intelligence in your network, you cannot find it. You need to do manual everything. So basically, if you want to implement the concept of digitalization, then you need to implement optical fiber everywhere. So when you will implement this optical fiber everywhere, the next step is what kind of a technology you need to choose for that. Because you can implement different kind of a technologies to implement this concept. But at the same time, you need to choose such kind of a technology which will last for next at least 10 to 12 years, 10 to 15 years. You don't need to implement such kind of a old school fashion or old concept, like after 5 years, 6 years, you again need to change the network or you need to upgrade the net. And you know, we always have a limited budget. So when you need to design such kind of a network, two main factors you need to care. As many guys are from IT field, first is the CapEx cost. When you will discuss with your dean or with your organization, first of all, they will ask you, how much is the CapEx cost? How much I need to invest to implement this concept? Okay, I want to implement smart classroom. How much money I need to spend? Okay, they ask, okay, you need, for example, 10 million, 20 million rupees. Okay, 20 million is, what is the second cost? OPEX cost, which is just not a one-time cost. Every year you need to spend. That is all cost of the part of the OPEX cost. OPEX include service, maintenance, licensing, the persons you have to maintain that network. So that means you need to select such kind of a network which will help you to reduce your CapEx cost and OPEX cost. So for that, you need to choose the right technology. That is a very important factor. And at the other end, we see when we have such kind of a digitalization concept and advancement in technology, what happened? What is going on? So there are different trends in the campus network. For going into that one, so this is the concept of F5G. Like you need to implement the optical fiber everywhere in your network. So what happens? Before, we have optical fiber only on the main side. That means all the optical connectivities or optical switching cross connects are going to be deployed on only at the aggregation side. But now the concept have changed. It have changed from central office to edge side. So before whatever you was doing at the aggregation site, that have moved from aggregation site to edge site. Before you heard for last, I think 15 years we have the concept of full fiber home, FTTH to the home. Now that concept have changed. It is changed from FTTH to FTTR, fiber to the room. Normally, you know, in your homes, what happens? You have a one CP device that cannot cover your whole home. You need multiple bridges or extenders to extend the traffic, extend the coverage. So that is not possible for everyone. Even everyone cannot manage that. Cover that one, you need to have a concept of FTTR, fiber to the room, and for that one, we have a one proper separate solution which can be deployed in your home, and you can get minimum 1 Gbps per room bandwidth. The third is we have a fiber to the enterprise. Now that is moved not only from the, what happens before, like we will have a fiber in this, take example of this hotel. We have the fiber connectivity only till the main IT room. So now that it have changed or moved from fiber to the enterprise, fiber to the main site to fiber to the desk. Like you have a fiber everywhere for the connectivity points, like in this room, fiber to the room or fiber till the desktop. And this concept is called also FTTO, fiber to the office. Like you need to make sure you have a fiber everywhere in your campus net. And the third one is called, especially for the industry, FTTM, fiber to the machine. Very simple example is the CCTV camera. Before you are going to connect your CCTV camera through normal copper cable, but now you are going to connect that CCTV camera directly through fiber. So that will be based on the concept of FTT. So if we analyze this whole in detail, and now today I will mainly focus on this campus network based on the concept of FTTO, fiber to the office. So we can see there are different kind of challenges and new trends in our industry. In a campus network, here like we are going to connect with Wi-Fi. In the campus network, major services are connected through Wi-Fi. And within the Wi-Fi, again, we have a big development. Before we have a Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, then Wi-Fi 6. Now even we are talking about Wi-Fi 7. So when we have such kind of Wi-Fi, you need more bandwidth. So it means we need to have an advanced level of Wi-Fi system in our campus network. The second is higher bandwidth. Like before, if in any office we have 2 to 3 devices, 1 device and maximum 2 devices. But now a lot of people have 3 to 4 devices with each person. So that means you need more bandwidth as a user. So which brings more bandwidth as a network. So whatever the uplink we have in our network, like 1 gig or even few hundred MBs, that have changed from few hundred to 1 gig. 1 gig have changed from 1 gig to 10 gig. And as an uplink of that campus network, before 1 gig or 10 gig was considered sufficient bandwidth. But if you are going to implement the true concept of then this 10 gig is not enough. You minimum need at least around 40 gig. Even if you have a big campus network, maybe you need 100 gig bandwidth. And the third main concept is, we will take an example of any. So in any university, we have a multiple different kind of a physical network. We have a separate school network or the smart classroom network. We have a separate admin network. We have a separate office network. We have a separate CCTV or security network. So it means you have multiple physical network in one campus network, within one campus network. So that concept is now going to be changed from multiple campus network to single unified network. So you need to have such kind of a network which can fulfill all your basic requirement of the campus network. But again, by considering the concept we discussed, keeping in mind the capex cost and need to minimize your total investment in the network. So as in the previous slide, the first main factor was Wi-Fi. And in any connectivity is through Wi-Fi. So when there is trend in the Wi-Fi evolution of these technologies from Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6 to Wi-Fi 7, then you need more bandwidth, minimum 10 Gbps or even higher than that. But if you have a connectivity of your access points or Wi-Fi through normal cable, whether it can fulfill this requirement, you have some limitation in copper cable from the bandwidth point of view, from the latency point of view, and from the distance point. So the main trend is copper out, fiber in. You must need to implement fiber in your campus network to fulfill all these basic requirement of digitalization. So when you will have this kind of a concept, then you need to see that what kind of a technology you need to implement in your campus network. So this concept is called normally all optical network. And as per the third last 2 to 3 years, if we from 2023 to 2026. So what kind of organizations are going to follow these kind of a concept? So we will see 4 major organizations are going to follow these concepts. The number 1 is education industry. The second is hospitality for the hotels, real estate. Third is government organization. And the fourth is health industry. So that means all the major organizations where we have a lot of users which need more bandwidth, they are going to follow the concept of all optical. All optical network means you need to implement fiber in your network everywhere. That means you need to make sure the all major devices, main devices in your network are connected with the network through optical fiber. This is a one very simple example that what is this FTTO, all optical campus net, how it looks. Normally in a normal network, what we have the 3-layer architecture. We have one our core switch in our main IT room. Then we have one IDF room on each floor where we have our aggregation switch. And then we have a one access switch everywhere on the site. Or we have an aggregation room in the IDF room of each floor. And all these other rooms are the connectivity points are connected to copper cable. But when you will upgrade this network with all optical network, so you can see the difference. So wherever you have so many different kind of devices in a one room, you will have a very simple one rack or one device in the network. At the aggregation layer, where you have a one rack on each side or on each floor, you will just have an optical splitter, which is a passive device. Don't need any kind of a power, don't need any kind of a special installation material or installation space. And you are going to connect all the rooms or your connectivity point through optical fiber. So what will be changed? 4 main changes in this network. First is MDF or your main IT room is going to be changed from multiple devices to one device. The second change is this IDF room. Active devices, now we will have only one passive device. That means no power, no space requirement, and most important, no OPEX, no maintenance required. The third is this terminal devices, where we have a one, and even if we have a multiple different kind of services, normal, we don't have only one Ethernet, which have a lot of converters. But in this solution, you will have only one device. which can fulfill your all basic requirements. And the last one is cabling infrastructure. In this new solution, the cabling infrastructure will be very simple. And you will be surprised, in normal solution, everywhere you need two core of a fiber. One for trans, one for receive. But in this new solution, you need one core of a fiber everywhere. So that you can see 50% fiber requirement reduced. Second, this is basically point-to-point solution, the point-to multi-point. So in this video, you will see how simply we can deploy this solution and see the comparison between these two solutions. So this is any campus network where you have a main IT room, you have different kind of so many devices, but in this solution you will have a very simple network or very simple device in the main IT room. And then from your main IT room to IDF, where you have a multiple active devices. Here you will have one simple passive device. And then from IDF to each room, you will have so big cabling, so many cables, a big cabling infrastructure. But in this solution, you will have a very simple cabling. Within the end, like if it is like a smart classroom, we will terminate one optical cable, and then from there, we can connect all the devices through each or with any other interface as safety requirements. So this is just an apple-to-apple comparison between these two solutions, where in normal traditional solution, we have the 3 layers, while in this new solution, we have a just simple 2-layer architecture. Why we say 2-layer architecture? Because we have the 2 active devices, one at access layer and one at the, so basically, again, we have the 3 main advantages from this solution. The first is TCO saving. If you are going to deploy the both networks at the same time, by just following this new concept, you are going to save 30% overall cost. And the major saving is from the infrastructure part. Second is from the energy consumption. We have 2 active layers, and at the same time, the power consumption requirement is very less as compared to a normal solution. So you are going to save at least minimum your power requirement. And at the last one is of the network. If you have a normal copper network, maybe after every 15 years for the copper cable, 12 to 15 years, you must need to replace that one. And if you have active equipment on that one, as sir mentioned, just after 5 to 7 years, you need to change the equipment also. But when you have such kind of a solution, so you need to change the network of the life cycle of that product is minimum 12 years. That means when you will deploy such kind of a network for next 12 to 15 years, you don't need to change any kind of equipment. But also from the fiber point of view, the network will be ready for a long life, minimum 30 years. So this is just all 3 main advantages. Like what kind of advantage we are getting with this new FTTO solution. First is from the architecture point of view. Second is from the infrastructure point of view. As I mentioned, this is the point-to-multi-point technology. So that means overall physical ports requirement and the cable requirement is less. At the other end, we need only 1 core of a fiber. While in normal solution, we need 2 core of a fiber. So that means minimum 40% infrastructure cost is less. Third is from management point of view. Before you have multiple different kind of a networks, you need multiple management systems. But in this network, you will have only one centralized management system. And the good thing is when you will deploy this network, this is based on the ZTP, zero touch provisioning. That means you don't need any configuration. This is a very big difference as compared to normal. Like when you are going to plan such kind of a network, you can configure your solution or you can put some template in the management system. And when you are going to connect any kind of a device in your network, that will automatically collect all the configuration or fetch the configuration from centralized management system. So you don't need any kind of a configuration on the site. You don't need to visit all the sites in your network. Second is from the how the green equipment. As I earlier mentioned, in main IDF room, you don't need so many maximum. At the same time, at the aggregation layer, you don't have any active device. Even you don't need any IDF room. Later can be installed anywhere as per your physical infrastructure. And the third one is the simplified cabling. So normally, everywhere you have a full trench cable tray for the deployment of Ethernet cable. But in this solution, you will just have a very simple bunch of optical fiber can be moved or which can be deployed anywhere as per your requirement. And apart from this one is the low power consumption. I can give one just simple example. Normally, if you are going to deploy any IP core device at the aggregation layer, so the minimum power consumption of that one is around 1000 watts. But in this solution, if you are going to use the same kind of equipment in your main IT room, the power consumption requirement is just 200. So the power consumption requirement is very less. So then basically one other main advantage of this technology is this is based on the TDM technology. So everyone, whoever is using the TDM technology, any kind of a old school of thoughts like the SDH network, more secure with higher quality. So normally what happens, so all these frames are going to travel at special defined fixed intervals, like 125 microseconds. So based on that one, you can easily calculate your latency, and which you can design as per your network requirement. In a normal solution, what happened in the old solution, you have this kind of all optical solution, then you have a normal access points. And when you have such kind of access point, you cannot manage that one through normal these core device. But in this new solution, which we call FTTO 2.0, the same device can manage all the access points in your network. So basically, at the end, as a result, there will be less interference. Different channels will be allocated to the Wi-Fi network as per the availability of that one in a specific area. Then security is a very important factor. So such kind of a solution ensures the security and reliability at the network level. So it offers different kind of a protection schemes or different kind of features at different layers. So one very simple is this AES-128 encryption. So all the data which will move inside this network, that will be by default AES-128 encryption. You don't need to add any additional encryptor, or you don't need to care about the security for this. Then at the network level, again, different kind of solutions can be offered as per your physical infrastructure requirement. Then from the security point of view, like here we mentioned the perimeter security. Possible if we have 100 users, we have 100 devices. We can find them based on the MAC address. Only specific CPE or devices can be registered in the network. Now, like anyone can bring any device and just is going to connect with the network. So it will ensure the overall security of whole network. And in the beginning, I mentioned one network where you are going to combine the multiple physical network in your network into a single unified network. So basically, based on this TDM architecture, it is possible that different time slots can be allocated to different networks, which will ensure the 100% isolation of the network from each other. So when we need to deploy such kind of a network, the infrastructure is a very important factor. Like we need to lay the fiber, we need to do the splicing. So for this, to address this challenge, Huawei have a very unique kind of a solution called pre-connected ODN or smart ODN solution, where we are offering pre-connected, pre-assembled ODN network. So you don't need to do any kind of a splicing. The deployment of that one is very simple. So wherever you are going to spend so much time or so many days for the deployment of a normal solution, by following this one, you can quickly deploy the solution within few days, depending on the size of your network. So then this solution is basically, again, because we are talking about the fiber. Fiber is just a one medium which we can use in any network as per our requirement. So it can be used in any industry. As I earlier show you the statistics, in education, in healthcare, in finance, in FTTH, in the buildings, in subway, in power communication. So this solution can be used in any scenario as per the physical connectivity requirement. But if we will deploy this solution, especially in education industry, so then how it will look? You will have a one centralized network. In your IT room, you are going to deploy this main OLT. And from there, you are going to lay the fiber from main IT room to the other different areas as per your different requirements. And there, you will have these different kind of separators. And then you can connect the different devices at that layer. So at the end, what is the target? You will have a one unified network for your campus, especially in the big universities, where we have a big CCTV or security system, we have a separate office, we have a separate same smart classrooms. So you will have only one physical architecture of the network, and then for flexibly you can deploy in different areas as per your different requirements. So we will just quickly go through how this can be deployed in the education industry. There are 5 scenarios for that. First is smart classroom, where we will have just one optic fiber till in classroom, and from the classroom then we can deploy the different Ethernet cables and we can connect the different kind of devices. The advantage of Huawei is we are providing so different kind of terminal devices. So here we can provide any device as per the physical interface requirement in your scenario. So here you will see how simply it can be deployed in the classroom scenario. On each floor, no need so many IT rooms or so big space, only one passive device. And then in the classroom, you will have just one cable, and from there you are going to connect all the different devices. Second scenario is the smart. Like in any campus network, you will must have some different kind of offices, administration department. And normally, many people have a separate physical network for that. So by utilizing the same infrastructure, you can deploy a simple network for the office network, for the office requirement. And again, here we have a different kind of a special terminals, which have a built-in Wi-Fi. Sports Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, and we can offer different kind of devices for the connectivity. And we have the ONUs, which can provide you a very high bandwidth. Even we have a built-in Wi-Fi 7 ONUs, which can fulfill all basic requirements of the network. So then third is for the normal residential. For that one also, this is a big concern of the many universities, that how to provide that kind of a network. Again, for that one, normally our customers need a separate network from ISPs or from the carrier networks. But it is possible if you want, by utilizing same your network, you can offer these kind of a connectivities. So this is how you will deploy that one in the hostel or residential areas. So basic advantages, the same scenarios. So it is very important to understand the concept of this all optical solution. If you have understand the basic concept of all optical solution, then you can deploy in any scenario as per your physical network requirement. The fourth scenario is the wireless campus, like in the different areas, in the library, in the lecture hall, in the playgrounds. So everywhere you can deploy this network, and there are specific devices as per that specific scenario. And here, like for example, we have one specific device called SFP-based ONU. That means if you have a one CCTV or your one access point, you can just install that SFP as an uplink of that one, and you can connect with the network. You don't need to lay that fiber. And for this one, we have one specific PoE we call AFWP, Advanced Fiber with Power. Normally, for the PoE connectivity, you have a limitation of 100 meters. But in this solution, you can connect for the PoE up to 800 meters. So especially in the big campuses where you need to provide a security CCTV cameras, you don't need to ensure the availability of power everywhere. So you can use this flexible solution as per your requirement. Then especially in the school campus scenarios, again, different devices are available which you can deploy as per the different connectivity requirement. So this is just a technical part. Then Huawei is the leader in all these kind of a technology. And we not only the leader from the sale point of view, also from the R&D point of view. Huawei is investing almost $20 billion every year only for the R&D. And we have 6 R&D centers specially designed for our access network. And we are globally number 1 continuously for last 15 years. And we have our reference in all over the world in different scenarios. So as I mentioned, that this solution is a flexible solution, which just ensures the availability of fiber for the connectivity. Now depend on us how we have to deploy this solution in different scenarios. We have our reference in education scenarios, in hospital or health scenarios, in the hospitality scenarios, even in the carrier networks. All connectivity which you are getting in your home from Cybernet, Neatel, PTCL, all these scenarios at the back end, Huawei solution is working. That is access network based on the APAN technology. And this is the just overview of our products. We provide the different kinds of at all the different layers. These are the different products, even a very small product for 4-port, 8-port, especially for the small school scenarios, small university scenarios. And then we have at the ONT or ONU level, different kind of a products, different range of the products as per the physical connectivity requirement. So I mentioned earlier, in this solution, you need to have just a one simple device. But in the other scenario, maybe you need multiple devices or the converters. And then from the ODN point of view, also we provide different kind of a solution. And this is that cable which I was mentioned, AFWP, where we can provide a wireless PoE connectivity through optical fiber. So this brings to end of my presentation. If you have any question, you are most welcome. Actually, we have already provided these two solutions to HEC, which is under now, no, it is under delivery stage, and that will be installed. Other than this one, we have already deployed in many malls and scenarios, in other like hospitality scenarios, like the Karachi the Lucky Mall, which is working on this one. No, Mall of Islamabad, we are working with them closely. to deploy such kind of. So it have a reference. Even in the industry like Neatel or the CyberNet, TTCL, Transfer, all are these solutions. More, more reference or more information. I have a team here which can provide you all the information. And even if you have a real requirement, we can do a POC in your net. No problem for that one. And just check and use this for 2 to 3 months, then decide whether it is useful for you or not.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I have some couple of questions.
Yes, please, sir.
So the first question is, how F5G distinguish itself from other technologies like 4G or 3G? How can you distinguish both of them? That is number one.
Okay.
And number one, what are the challenges to be faced by deploying F5G in Pakistan? Okay. And so let's come on these two questions, then we will talk.
Okay, so first, I think I will just ask you as a conversation. Till now, why the 5G is not available in Pakistan? Do you know the reason? No. The first is the license, the frequency band. Like all this 3G, 4G, 5G, as per the ITUT standards, there is a frequency allocated band for each of these technologies. Like if you uplink and downlink know of the 3G and 4G is 1890 to 18 something like that one, then as an uplink, and the downlink is 26 some like the specific range. And then there is a range of that, how much bandwidth is going to be assigned. You have a 5 megahertz channel, 10 megahertz channel, 20 megahertz channel like that one. So as the capacity of that channel increases, 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 20 megahertz, you can send and transfer more data rate for that one. One is this one. But this is technical. If you, for example, even your equipment is capable of providing the 5G, but if you don't have a license from PTA to use that frequency channels, you cannot provide 5G service. So this is the first thing. Second is when you need to deploy such kind of a channels, such kind of a network, there are different. In the beginning, I mentioned, for every network you have a different challenges. You have a different prerequisites. So whatever, like a very, very simple example I can give you. If in the 4G, for example, to cover this F5 or this F6, or in this one area, I need to cover 10 sites, for example, for 4G. If I want to cover that with the 5G with the higher bandwidth, maybe I need 2 times or 3 times more sites. You need to plan your network as per the industry standards or as per the industry requirements. Third is, I mentioned, one is the bandwidth, second is the latency. Latency is a very, very important factor. Before what happens, you have 10 sites. First site is going to connect to the second, second to the third, third to four, four to five, then we are going to connect to the aggregation site. But normally in the 5G, we call it one hop architecture. That all the sites from the access to core need to reach maximum in 1 to 2 hops. Because as the distance will increase, the hops will increase, what will happen? Latency will increase. You heard the concept of wireless cars or driverless cars. How that will be implemented? And for the driverless cars is within 1 millisecond. So you need to have such kind of infrastructure. You need to have such kind of facilities. To be honest, I am taking care of whole this Middle East and Central Asia region for our this solution from Huawei. I landed here yesterday. My mobile is not working. Just to use this from yesterday, it is pending. And even if you have your mobile is working, I belong to Sargodha. Anyone from Sargodha? So like the blue area, in Sargodha, the main area is the college road. On that college road, if you have a normal your SIM, your internet don't work. What is the reason? Because your infrastructure is not ready. Or infrastructure is there. You have not deployed or not designed the right infrastructure which can provide you all this bandwidth.
You have very well elaborated my second question, that is the challenges.
Mm.
The first question is how 5G itself will distinguish from 4G.
Okay, first of all, distinguishes from the technology point of view. As I mentioned, technology is different. Then normally what happens, for example, in frequency band, which we are, I told you earlier, 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, in a normal solution, we are like slicing that channel to multiple users. But in 5G, we call it MIMO, multi-input, multi-output. Like one antenna, which you can see, the 5G antenna, have 16 internal antennas. And each antenna can provide you this 10 megahertz or 20 megahertz bandwidth. If you are the 16 users, each user will be connected with one antenna. So whole overall architecture is different.
So you mean in 5G we have different devices as compared to 4G?
Yes, different devices, mostly different. Or now we have such kind of a devices which support 3G, 4G, 5G, but even in the physical devices, the modules are different. Like they are 5G compliant or not.
All right. One last question is, uh, for example, we are going to implement our F5G in our campus.
Yes.
So now we have 5G in our campus. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we have our laptops, we have our mobiles, we have our desktops. They only support the Ethernet network, or their speed is very limited, maybe 100 Mbps. So how we can, for example, I have a mobile. This mobile does not support 5G, and we have a 5G everywhere. So how to cope this problem? If you deploy 5G, but we have not devices, supportable 5G devices, then how can we use?
This is a very good question, and very good question from the general perspective point of how the normal person thinks about this. First of all, you are right. When you want to drive a Ferrari or a BMW, then you should have a capacity to fuel it. So similarly here, if you want to use this Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, such kind of a devices or the higher bandwidth devices, then you need to have such kind of a devices which will support these technologies. But at the same time, the advantage of, because now if you are from one university, this is a evolution process. Not tomorrow you will say, okay, all the devices need to be changed with Wi-Fi 6, with Wi-Fi 7. So all the devices are the solution which I show you when you will deploy, they are backward compatible.
No, you mean to say whenever we have 5G in our campus, then we have to change our PCs as well?
No. 1 minute, just give me 2 minutes. I will answer you this. First of all, this is the backward compatible. Backward compatible mean if you will deploy a 5G, you don't need to change anything. So your all devices will connect with the existing network. But the difference will be how you will get the more speed. The designing of the network will be changed. For example, before where you have a one device in your IT room and you are going to connect like 40, 50 user to one device, you will distribute that to different areas. So for example, before like this room is going to connect with some IT room there, like in this on this floor. But in this solution, what will happen? You will have a one device straightway in the room, which will have a dedicated bandwidth. Before you have a 1 gig for a one floor. Now the dedicated bandwidth from the planning point of view, you will have a 1 gig dedicated in the room. Before, as you mentioned, you can work on maximum 100 Mbps. But how much you get? Sometimes 20 Mbps, 10 Mbps, 30 Mbps actual speed. Why? Because your system have the capability, your device have the capability. But from the designing point of view, you are going to share whole bandwidth between different users. You will get the more bandwidth. First of all, all the devices are compatible. Second, you will really feel the difference. Why you will feel the difference? Because the back-end architecture is changed. The third one is for the, you mentioned like they are not like Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7 compliant. So future is whenever we will deploy a new product in our network, that we need to make sure is future compliant, latest technology compliant.
No, actually, I want to ask from you. For example, our infrastructure is very updated, and
Okay.
we have a dedicated bandwidth in our lab or in our classroom. But our Ethernet cable that only supports
100.
maximum 100 Mbps. So in this situation, how can we
Get more.
enhance the speed? How can we get enough bandwidth in our PC? What is its solution?
The first is now here, because you are stucking on a specific point, that is the connectivity of copper cable. The simple answer for that one is two ways. Either you need to upgrade that copper cable, or you need to have a Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7 capabilities in your PC. Because PC also connect to Wi-Fi, na? So how you will get, you need more bandwidth. From where the bandwidth will come? From that device, or but from that device to your network, need to shift, need to transfer that data. How you will transfer? If you will keep the same, like you have a Cat 5e in your network, so then you cannot get more than 100 Mbps. If you need more than 100 Mbps, then you need to do something. What you will do, either you will upgrade that connectivity of the wired network or the wireless network, and then you will get the more. So at the end, you must need to do something for the connectivity. It does not mean one, it is similarly like one device have a capability, one chip that can process 1 Gbps data. Either you will give 2 GB, 3 GB, 5 GB. That chip will not provide you the output or performance more than 1 Gbps. So that means you need to upgrade that capability also. But you will feel the difference. Before, actually what happens, as you mentioned 100 Mbps, you go and analyze, you have 100 Mbps connectivity, but it will be working only at 10 MB, 20 MB, 30 MB, not more than this one.
So what is the actual solution of replacing Ethernet? How can we replace Ethernet with something else?
So two ways. First is the main common is, as I showed earlier in the campus network, the main trend is the Wi-Fi. Like you need to have higher evolution version of the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7.
In our desktop PCs, there is no Wi-Fi. In our labs, we have guided media.
So then you need to upgrade, if it is going to connect to the copper, you need to upgrade your copper cable to Cat 6 or Cat 6e.
No. For example, you are talking about Cat 6e and Cat 6. So is it capable to support 1 gigahertz?
Yes, that is supported. That is possible. Other ways, you can also go, through the optical connectivity, you can also have.
You mean we connect all the PCs with optical fiber directly?
That is possible, but actually that is not a end solution for that one. End solution that for that one, the workable solution is you need to have a device one here, which will be have a fiber uplink, and from that you need to connect to Cat 6 or as per your data rate requirement. If you have a Cat 6, Cat 6C can support 10 GM, right? Yes. If you have a Cat 6C, you can provide the 10 G. Then you can, if your device has to provide you 10 Gbps on a port level, you can directly connect, no problem.
So why Huawei does not provide the 5G equipments in open market? For example, if we are going to purchase something from open market, so we ultimately need to contact with PWP or other local companies, and they provide it. Like if you see Cisco, they already provide the equipments in open market, but for Huawei, I have not seen any 5G equipped device available in open market. So what's its reason?
So the reason is the different selling models, like business strategy, different business strategy. Before we were going through all the service providers, like you can see the Neatel, Cybernet, Transworld, PTCL. But now for last year, we have already decided, started called Huawei distribution. This all belongs to distribution. So where we will provide these kind of devices to our distribution, and from distribution you will get in the open market. So yes, you are right, we are not providing these kind of devices through distribution, but we have already started. And I think today in Karachi, ITCN is going on, if anyone of you know. There we are going to launch this Huawei distribution. And in that one, then later you can get these devices, maybe after a few months or 1-2 months, you can get the devices. Welcome, sir. Yes, basically in Huawei, we have the 3 organizations within Huawei. First organization is called Huawei CNBG, Carrier Network Business Group, which takes PTCL, Jazz, Telenor. Second is called Huawei Enterprise. We all belong to Huawei Enterprise, who take care of the customer other than all these carriers, like the Serena Hotel, HEC, any school, any university, any SME, any government organization belong to us. Third is Huawei device, like the mobile phones, all these devices. And now we have the 4th vision within Huawei Enterprise, that is Huawei distribution, through which we will provide these products to open market. So basically, sir, your question is for the adaptation of technology, like how we need to adopt this technology. So if, for example, tomorrow you have any project and you come to Huawei, and I am coming from Huawei to guide you or to give you a Huawei solution. After analyzing your network, I will never say directly go on this solution. We need to analyze your network, especially from your existing infrastructure point of view. So there are two scenarios. One scenario is greenfield network. You understand greenfield network? The new network. Like you are going to lay a new network, then without considering any other factor, I will directly ask you, sir, please deploy this. Because when we have a greenfield network, that means I don't have an existing network. I don't need to care about any kind of existing resources, existing investment, and I can say, okay, sir, whatever you are spending such amount on this network, just pay amount on this. Second scenario is when you have some upgradation requirement. Like as you mentioned, if I go to any university, any SME, where they have a existing infrastructure and they have deployed just 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years ago, I will never ask them to go on this unless they have some specific requirement. So then I will ask them, sir, this is not the right time for you, especially from the capex and opex point of view, from the investment point of view. Right point is when after 3 to 4 years, when these devices will be end of port, or you are going to build some new area in your university, then partially you need to shift that one on this infrastructure or on this concept. So then basically for such kind of scenarios, we normally say the hybrid scenario. And in that case scenario, there are, so in the beginning I show you, we have the different names of the fiber in the network, like FTTC, FTTB, fiber to the building. So we need to consider till what point the fiber is available. Then we will design and guide you to work on that. So it does not mean that I'm promoting this solution, I will ask you, throw away all your existing equipment and install this one. Not, it is not. So it is a step by step. And we will ensure, like, you will be protected from capex.
And with poor latency. Like in 5G, we use millimeter waves, which
Yes.
has very shorter range. And even if there's some obstacles, it might not be suitable for, to access it. So how it works in that scenario?
Okay, first of all, don't think this is a new technology. As I mentioned earlier, if you know the basic architecture of 5G, this is that 5G. Basically,
yeah, but, I mean, it is a transition. It's not new, but it's transition
yes,
from
you
previous.
can say.
Yeah.
The transition is before we have the fiber connectivity at the back end. Now what we are promoting, and as per the new services requirement, we are saying, no, you need to move this connectivity from the back end to the edge, to the user. So first of all these points are already considered. However, how it was considered in 5G, the same it is considered in the F5G. Only the difference is whatever was considered in the 5G equipment, now it is considered F5G equipment. Like show you the OLT. Before, for the Wi-Fi network, you have a separate access controller who manage all the users, the access points. But now you have this access controller built in this OLT in your core device. So that will take care of all this mobility, switching, everything. So all these basic features are considered. No problem for that.
So my question is that you talked about Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7.
Yes, sir.
So as per my understanding, I think Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7 both operates in the 6 gigahertz band.
Yes, sir.
What in terms of technology do you think there is a difference, and why Wi-Fi 7 outperforms Wi-Fi 6E, although the fact that they both operate in 6 gigahertz?
Okay. Again, was a very simple answer for this one. The straight answer is the frequency channel. You know how much frequency channel is required for the Wi-Fi 7? How much? Sorry?
320 megahertz.
360 megahertz.
360.
320, 320.
320.
No, 180 into 180. 360. 360 megahertz.
Okay, yeah, 360. Okay. Yeah.
So
Same
when you
goes-
will have a so big channel,
So
then
Wi-Fi
mean you can
Wi-Fi 6
transport the same so big data rate.
Wi-Fi
you
6E
have-
also has the same.
Sorry,
same,
sir?
Wi-Fi 6E has also the same.
No, but the same, there's the difference. And again, the MIMO is the difference. Multi in, multi out is the difference. how many concurrent users or multiple antennas you are using inside the equipment.
So Wi-Fi 6E has also the same number of massive MIMO which is in 7.
No, I think in Wi-Fi 7, we are using 16 into 16. In 16E, it is 4 by 4 or 8 by 8. I thought I'm right. So this is less. I'm sure this is less. I can tell you the exact number later.
Okay.
So
you.
this is actually the main difference is from these 2 points. And the most important is the frequency channel. Like when we say like for Wi-Fi 7, we need 18 Gbps backbone like this one. That means the MIMO, the number of antennas in and out are more. If I'm using 2 by 2, maybe I need only 3 Gbps. But if I'm using 8 by 8 or 16, 8 by 8, it will move to 10 Gbps or 12 Gbps. If I'm using 16 by 16, it will now 18 point something, 18.7. Even now in the Huawei new access points, we can provide 23 Gbps as a backbone. So this MIMO is different and the frequency channel is different. Hope I answer all the questions. You can
Hello,
give them-
sir. Hello.
Yes, someone online? Yes, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question. At core level, we deploy OLT. If all the ports have been utilized, then how can we scale? And this is a question for the scalability perspective. How can we scale up at core level?
So the main is
If
how
all
you
the
will up.
OLT,
So first of all, when you need to design your network, you need to consider that how many ports and how much bandwidth is required. You need to know requirement for next 5 years and 10 years. Otherwise, if you don't know the exact bandwidth, then you can select a which port 30. Your requirement is not, then buy a OLT port, number of ports. Hope I answer your question. Because if you have selected such kind of a device which can provide you more ports, then no such kind of a limitation. Yes, please, sir.
for example, we add more buildings and more ports are required. Then how can we scale up?
I told you, if you, for example, have a 32 port OLT, and now you have consumed or utilize all 32 ports OLT, one way is you can add one other OLT in other area, and then you can connect OLT to OLT. One way is this one. Other ways, you don't want to another OLT, then you need to replace that OLT. 32 to, instead of 32, you need to use 64. Because if the capability, that OLT have a capability of 32 ports, then how you will upgrade?
Right, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
Last
please.
question, sir. How it is different from the two-tier spine leaf architecture?
Two,
Two-tier spine leaf architecture.
okay. Again, that leaf architecture is normally we call use in the, if I have understand the question the right way, in the data center scenario. It is the same concept is same, but even in that one, that is the point-to-point architecture. You are not going to share one port with the multiple users. But in this solution, it is a point-to-multi-point architecture. One physical port you are going to share between the multiple users, like 1 into 32, 1 into 64, 1 into 128, maximum, technically it is possible up to 256, 1 into 256 is possible.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, yes, please.
I just need one information. You just introduced one cable, fiber over
Yes,
Ethernet.
AFWP.
Yeah. Can you please tell me that when we are using that cable for up to 800 meters, as you tell the area and distance, is there any bandwidth limitation in it? One. And second is that just like we are using some front-end devices which are offered Cat6 connectivity, just like RJ45. So when we use this cable, we still need to use some source to convert that cable into another, or we have two type of connectivity, one side fiber and other side revive. Just like
Okay.
in fiber we have SC, LC, this kind of
I understand
cables.
that one. So first is no limitation on the bandwidth. The limitation is what kind of a technology you are using. 10 GPON, GPON like 2.5 Gbps, 10 GPON, 50 GPON. No limitation on the bandwidth. But there is a limitation on the power because it is PoE. As you will,
Exactly.
yes, please.
Exactly same thing I want to ask.
Yes,
Video
yes.
from CCTV camera that consumes around 4 Mbps.
It does not
Yes.
matter.
Yeah.
Forget this one. No any effect on the power. The difference is on the watt, how many watt you can travel. PoE, PoE plus, PoE plus plus. So like it is 12 watt, 15 watt, 30 watt, 60 watt. On the data side, no limitation. Only this power have a limitation.
What is the maximum power it can travel?
PoE plus plus. But
Plus,
in that
plus.
case scenario, then distance will be less. That will be
Okay.
not 800 meter. It will be 300 meter. If it is a PoE plus, then 500 meter. And only PoE, then 800 meter.
Okay.
Yes.
That's one. And what's about the connectivity? For example, on the other
Connectivity will be optical to optical. Depends what kind of a device you have. That device will have a optical connectivity.
okay, then we can use.
Yes.
No, if we don't have the optical connectivity.
Then you cannot
Okay,
use.
okay.
Other for that one, the solution is we need to use this SFP-ONU. We have one SFP. You need to use that SFP as uplink of that device.
So that cable is usually for your APs, just like we have your APs in smart classroom solution, this kind of thing.
Yes. If you have a Huawei APs, then you can use the same SFP as uplink of your AP.
Got you.
Thank you, sir. Hope I answered all the questions.
Yeah, sure.